What's up, everyone? We finally made it to the third video in a 10 video series about creating languages. And we've already gone over how to develop the sounds of those words. And of course, the reason why we would even create create a language itself for our worlds when writing our novels. Today, we're actually going to talk about forming the words. We're going to start building and creating the actual Con language itself, and most importantly, a morphology, how words are created. By understanding the structure and formation of words, you'll be able to give your language a distinct identity that fits your narrative world. All right. More importantly, we need to understand what things are before we jump in it. And just so you have the terminology of the morphology, what is morphology? It is the study of how words are formed, the how words are formed. In natural languages, words are made up of morphemes, all right? Morphemes, which are the smallest units of meaning. A morpheme can be a root, a prefix, a suffix, or even a combination of these. Morphology in itself allows you to take the sounds you've created and start combining them into meaningful units or words. We've talked a little bit about how each syllable in a word is made up of one vowel sound. Part of this is adding to those structures and allowing a rhythm or a collection of sounds, which would make up the morphology. For your con language, you don't need to worry about complex linguistic details, unless you want to, of course. You can go as deep as you want. Instead, we'll focus on the creative potential of world building and how it can help your world come to life by adding certain elements. Now, before we get into the big, I'm going to show you some stuff in real time. But I want to go over what makes up a word and how you can look at your words in a different light, so you can say, "Oh, there's actually this form of a word, and I could add these little elements, and that would change the feel or meaning." So, what are types of word formations? These are just several. We're going to go over 5 different kind. There are others, but these are the 5 that we're going to cover today. Root words. Root words are the core of any language. They carry the basic meaning of a word and serve as the foundation to which other elements can be added. All right. What does that mean? Well, in English, a root word for write, WRITE, forms the basis for words like writer, writing, or rewrite. And if we're going to look at that on the screen, which who doesn't want to look at a word on the screen? Who doesn't? So let's do some real world visuals. Boom, bang, bing. I'm gonna leave me off because you can't really see me when I'm on here, and this would be get a little too much on it. Maybe that actually kind of works. I'll leave that. All right. So again, root words. All right. In this situation, right is the root word. However, you can create writer, okay, which is ER. All right. You have writing, which is ing, the inging, and then you have rewrite, which is RE. Okay. So what does this mean though? And in the basic formation, usually, not always, but adds what somebody is. So a baker, a writer, okay, a writer, a cobbler, right? Writing is the act of. One is writing, okay. One wrote is past tense, but again, that would be a tense. We're gonna get to tenses in a minute. Rewrite. So re is to do over. So rework, rewrite, rerun. And these are things to think about when it comes to your words, especially when you're forming sounds. Okay. For example, oh, yeah, that's why having me up there. All right. For example, boop, boop. Maybe that'll work out. If you were coming up with sounds, all right, and this is something we definitely are going to explore in this series, and there is a sheet that is free and available that you could download, and it'll allow you to organize what words have been changed to other words. So, for example, right, okay, is a root word. All right. In this situation, there are a couple things I would do. I would come up with a sound or word or letter formation for WRITE. All right. And just as an example, let's say W is actually going to be ooh. Oh wait. Ooh. All right. R will be let's see. Uh ooh. I could even do that. Ooh or like this. Ooh Okay. And then I might be so ooh a day, right? And then T might be but you see this I, this makes the I and E makes the silent, the magic E. So Dea would only be for the IE version of it. Okay. That's a rule. Remember, you've got to create rules from the second lesson. So this E doesn't get anything. And the reason is because we have the function. And then T might be uideum, right? Uideum. So now we know this is pronounced uideum. And then you might say, but Thomas, right is one syllable. Right. Yeah, but we changed the word and styling by giving it different feels. And deum each gets their own syllable because they each get a vowel. Now, would I spell it this way? I don't know. Maybe the way I spell it might be let's see. Day, right? And then maybe wait. Ooh, I could do this. You could actually do deum, right? And that's the word deum. So anytime you see a U with this, you know that's oo. H is right? And then D with the apostrophe is day, and then So deum. Now, this is how you do it, right? So ER would not be how do we create a sound for E and R? No, we got to figure out an ER sound. So if we're looking at this, we go, all right, ER might be R, or let's just go a little bit different. Let's goo. All right, just for the fun of it, okay? So we know this is uadeum goo, right? Or uadeum deum ed deumer, right? Uadea uadeum uadeum lee daily, right? All right, yeah, I like that. Daily. So we know that Lee, which really is Lee, all right, that's how it's pronounced, daily, right? So now writer is daily, right? And anytime it's er at the end of the word, if we did baker and created the thing for baker, we know that er in baker would now be pronounced Lee. And you would do the same thing for ing, and that could be faith. We could say faith like that, right? So then so then that would look like this, faith. So deum faith, right? And you know that's ing. And of course, obviously, it sounds completely different in English, but that's the point. It's a new language. Dea fi, dea faith, right? Deum faith. And obviously, you can pronounce it slow. Deum faith or Deum faith, and that creates the rhythm or the the flow of your language, which comes from the second video we worked on. And of course, you could do that with re. So uh, let's say re is just ill. So it'd be il ua deum. So re equals, we just reverse it. So it's li, and this is ill, right? So il ua deum, and that means rewrite. And that is one of the things that you have to think about when you're creating your language, is you have to start organizing not the sounds, not just the sounds you created from the second video, but start creating this, because in the second video we talk about creating sounds for letters. And then of course you can create your own your own letter for that sound, if that makes sense. Because when I do it, I just take the English language and I take a letter from the English and then I give it a sound. Then I give that sound a for example, I turned this into this. I went like that. So for me, anytime U apostrophe shows up, it's oo. And that'll replace every single W in every single word. Unless, of course, there is a new rule, because, but also, like the word we, WE, I don't have to say, like ooh, and then like maybe, right? I could make we its own word, just like I can make yes its own word, but then give y its own, because it's your language. You can control whatever it says, but it just helps me to build words quicker because I just give rules to each letter, and then that also helps me keep sense of things. So let's keep going a little bit. Let's keep going. All right. So root words, we talked about that a little bit. Yeah. So how does this help you? And what is another thing you could do? Well, you can think of root words. They don't have to just be right. The word right. They don't have to be bake, right? You can create your own root words and then create the suffixes that work with it. You can create, you know, uh, the ers, the ings. You can create whatever you want with that. In certain languages, they are not necessarily there. There's just, some words are just what they are in different languages, and in English we kind of like play around with it a little bit more. In some languages they just change the vowel set. Again, if we say ragazzo or ragazzi or ragazzia, right, that's boy, children, and girl. So it's just the letter change at the end, and that's something that happens. However, in English, boy and girl are separate words. Children is a third word. The biggest difference is they keep the word, they just change the vowel at the end. And that's something to think about as well when you're building it. All right, let's talk about the next thing. Oh, yeah. You make me want to shout. All right. Affliction, prefixes, and suffixes. Languages often create new words by adding the prefix to the beginning and the end, just like we did. We talked about this. ER creates the right? So a teach, right? If the word is teach, if we go back here and let's scroll them down. All right. So teach is the root word, but teacher is the suffix. Is representing the act of, okay? But you can create your own indicators, your own tenses, your own numbers, your own genders, your own formality. And that's true. So like one, uno, right? So in Spanish it's uno, okay? One, but one for you could say, you could write uh lace, right? Or Leia ace, right? Leia ace. Or you could say Lou or lay, right? So one is lay. But that's the thing. Like you have to come up with the sound and you have to come up with the spelling, one might even say. So think about that. That's very important to have that in mind. Additionally, there are compounding languages. There are compounding languages. All right. And compounding languages are basically taking two or more root words and combining them. So for Handschuh in German is glove. Handschuh, it's a hand shoe, it's a hand and a shoe. So it's glove. It's literally made up of the word hand and of course shoe, right? So German. All right. Think about how your culture or your world or the people in existence in your narrative look at words. Okay. For example, a mountain dwelling people might combine words for stone and cloud to create a term for their home or sacred place. Like, so you have stone plus cloud. And this might equal, say, stone. Right. Right. But, whoops. Whoops. Okay, and the way it might be pronounced is Stonoud, Stonoud, and welcome to Stonoud. And they did this because they compound worded things that are important to them. Because words evolve. For example, there is a surname that is very close to some of the main characters in one of the novels I'm working on, and they come from a place. They are the origin of their people, and that place had a longer name, and that longer name, which kind of sounds like the main surname, has shrunk over time, and that's really how names are formed. Okay, all right, let's see. Excuse me. Woo, woo, and of course, one of the big things to remember is language is a borrowed, all right, a borrowed function, right? Okay, for example, deja vu is a borrowed word, right? Piano is a borrowed word. Kindergarten is a borrowed word. What do you mean? Well, uh, Italy, piano's from Italy, and then German is kindergartner. Kindergartner. It's a borrowed word. We took it over. We added it to our lexicon. So when you're creating words, oh, I got to sneeze again. When you're creating watermelon, there it goes, gone. When you're creating words, if you create more than one language within your world, you can think about that too and be like, how does this popular language or this other language kind of form into this language? How can I create a borrowing system? And even if you do that, even if we go up here and we take, let's just say, Uadeum, right? We just take Uadeum, and then like another language wants to take it. Maybe the way they spell it, they might actually spell it Uadeum, Uadeum, and there you go, right? Or they might spell it like this, right? Uadeum. Whatever the case, but the word would still be, it means right. All right. So I kind of wanted to make this a quick video for you to get you in the mindset of looking at languages. Why is that important? Well, if we go here, all right, this is the language. These are the words that you would create. So here's like the English word, and then you would create your language here. You would break up the syllables, and then you would explain how it's pronounced if you're using this chart. So how does this work? Well, first we go to the translation. If we're going to use right, okay, if we're going to use right as an example, okay, If you're gonna use right as an example, then the way I would do it is I'd go down here to W for right. I have this thing up here, so you could go right. Okay. And W now to me. Okay. And by the way, you can make rules. So maybe it's just W at W at the beginning of words of a word. So that means now you could you go, you know what? There's going to be another form of W. All right. So now you have an option for a new W. But anyway, so what is the new letter? The new letter is going to be U like this. And how is it pronounced? It's pronounced oo. Okay? So boom. So now we know what the first letter is. It's oo. Okay? Now we have to come up with R. So we go up to R. And again, I'm going to create a secondary R, but this first R will be there. So R equals let's see how do I have it? Boop. I think I just have it as H, right? Yeah, H. Okay. So it's just the new letter is H, but how is it pronounced? It's pronounced It's pronounced All right. And now I know that H is the new letter. Boom, done. Now we got to do I. All right. And as you can see, I is actually going to be wait, what? Oh, day. Okay. All right. So I as a pronoun, IE. So IE creates, all right, as the magic M. IE creates day like this, and it's pronounced day. So now I know it's like this. So dayum, right? Because we're creating this word right here. All right. Okay. Now we need, because E no longer exists because it's part of the magic E, this function makes the D or the day sound. So now we just need to come up with T. So we go down to T and T. And again, I could create a new T just in case. This could be T between or between T inside a magic E function. All right. And the new letter is going to be and it is pronounced Okay. And there you go. Boom. So there it is. And how do you pronounce it? Well, what are the syllables? We know each oo, right? So it's wait. Okay. Ooh damn. So there we go. And then what does it look like when it's pronounced? It's ooh day. And now you know how to say it, you know how to pronounce it. So then what I do is I take this and then I go to the language and I find right. Right. Now, right might not be here, by the way. So WR. Oh, it is here. All right, great. If it wasn't here, I just put it here and then I put alphabetical, go up here and I do do this and then it automatically puts it in alphabetical order. And then I do this so I know how many words I have. Hey, look, it's a verb. All right. Okay. And there you go. Now right exists and it's easy to organize and put into your system. But as you can see, now every time I come up with a word, right, in the translation, I know that I have WRI with the magic E and T always figured out. Right. And that's how you slowly start not only building the rules to your writing and to your letters and to your sounds, but you could start organizing them into words because that's the whole point. Which brings us to my final thought. Okay. Where'd I go? Hey, how's it going? All right. Wait a minute. All right. Final thought. All right. So here we go. Another round on me. Now, this video covered the basics of taking a sound, taking a letter, transforming that letter or converting that letter into a specific symbol that which we're going to go over in the next video more directly. But your job is to figure out the sounds as we went over in video 2, the eaus and the lachmiahas. Like, is that a word that I want? Lachmiahas. What does that word even mean? Then you associate it with a word, or you could do what I do, where I take the English alphabet and I assign different spellings to that letter and then different sounds to that spelling based on the position of the letter within a word. The reason I do this is because sometimes you have dueling letters, like ER is not necessarily ER. It adjusts the word. It turns it into what they do. So a baker. So I know when ER is together, it spells differently than the letter E by itself and the letter R. I gotta sneeze. I must really be allergic to my cat. All right. Okay. So from there, once you understand your sounds and stuff like that, take that sheet I showed you, if it's comfortable for you, if you want to try it, and start organizing those sounds, those letter alterations into it, and then you could start forming words. And the more rules or the more information you give for letters, the quicker and easier it'll be to convert your lexicon for your new language. Now, I will repeat this. When it comes to words like yes or no, sometimes you don't have to worry about, well, Y is always this thing, and E is always this thing, and S is always. You could just be like, no, yes means, yes is this word. It's tuka, right? And no is always duka, right? And there you go, done. You're allowed to give a word a sound. You don't have to worry about the rules. The rules just make it easier. So when you're converting words from a letter that you created to a sound from the English alphabet, that's going to help you streamline the process and also keep words in a structure, basically. But that doesn't mean you're confined by that, because it's your language. You can make, like, magic is a different word in the Velis language than what magic would be if I use the formulas that I come up with. But the formula is there to help me just with the basics and get the words coming out. And obviously, if I don't like the way the word sounds or looks, I'll adjust it, because the rule I came up for the letters is just to help guide me. But I am in control because I'm the creative, just like you are the creative. So with that, oh yeah, the next video in this series, we're going to look at the visible architecture of language, which is grammar. We will dive into how to build grammatical rules that shape your language, understanding tenses, etc., etc. Hey, show me some of your words in the comments below. What are you doing so far? Let me see how it's coming. Let me see your sounds and your vowels. It's all about sharing and growing and elevating one another. Work, grow, and rise together. With that said, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. All right. And as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.